So I want to thank you all again. Guess what? They reinstated my video where I was pulled out for whatever reason. Remember, I told you I was pulled, shut down yesterday, and I was given a slap on the wrist and told that I was a bad girl and that I shouldn't do that again. And of course, I appealed it. And yep, they allowed the video to be uploaded. It was on star seeds and addiction, and and the pain of that journey for starseeds, the pain of from early on memories of not feeling like one belongs. But I'm not going to take a chance to dwell into that subject because at the end of the day, I'll just be blunt. I've got the Patreon. And so this was the final push for me to set up the Patreon, which is up and running. You can go on my profile in my link tree for more content, more naughty content, meaning more adult content. What does that mean? It means just talking brass tacks about what makes twin flames and twin rays different, why it makes them different, what is the intimacy factor, what is the point of that whole carrot, that particular dynamic, and how it's interlocked with the Ascension, and to show you again and again examples in more, how do I put it, the plumbing terms. I'm just going to talk. Just I don't know how else to express it without stepping in dog doo doo right now. So I'm looking to get really in the weeds and really talking and sharing experiences, including tantric sex magic and things of that nature. And I certainly can't do it on a live on TikTok. Let's be real. But God bless you, TikTok. Thank you for for agreeing with my appeal and letting my video, my live, go back up so I can actually upload it. But anyway, the point of this particular video is the fact that we are at a crossroad moment in the world, because one by one this app has not only brought us all together, many of us have formed amazing friendships. There's a particular person I follow, certainly not in, we don't have an amitié, meaning we don't have a friendship, but I know her, and I donated my time to do a free reading for her. Well, I mean, I donated the reading to raise money for her to go to Scotland. You may know who she is, Scarlet Fairy. And she's met her beloved through this app. And I wouldn't be surprised if they are, I wouldn't even call them twin flames. They're either high-level soulmates, and they could possibly, depending on what happens, they could very well be twin rays, you know? You never know, because certainly her frequency is massive. She's done massive healing, working on herself for, I believe, almost 2 to 3 years. And I just recently watched her video, basically 1 week off from going to Scotland and selling everything she has to be with her beloved, who came to this country to marry her. But at the end of the day, you know, she wants, I don't blame her, fuck, you know, but she's going to build a brand new life. But again, I think it's worthy of you guys to listen to some people's stories who are successfully bridging incredible, destructive past lives in this incarnation. I mean, pasts that they might not have been proud of, things that made them who they are today. And when she ended her marriage, right, which was, from her own admission, very, very toxic, it looks like she spent creating amazing community and healing, massive purging, and celibacy. Okay, it looks like she didn't, fuck around and go around and try to distract her pain with, nookie, honestly. So guess what? Here walks her twin, who probably did the same, judging by what I've seen in his character. And what's funny is I came across both of them separately. They did not meet until much later, after I had met each of them, meaning I had been introduced through TikToks, watching their content, liking them both very much, thinking, wow, they're really fascinating people. Certainly not feeling any which way except, wow, admiring and respecting their content, and they fucking met. So this app has brought star seeds. They've brought lovers. They've brought healing. They've brought twin flames in separation into union from this app, not to mention the political content, the social content, the amazing, rich spiritual content. And it saddens me that we as Americans are allowing this app to just go by the wayside because we have political supposed leaders. I wouldn't call them leaders. Definitely not. They don't know a fucking thing about leadership. They are here for themselves, and they have decided that we are too dangerous, unified, and educating each other on what's what's going on, what's up with the bullshit. So with that said, I know that I'm not going to be going to Clapper, just so you know. I will not be corralled like a cow. I'm not a cow. Not that there's anything wrong with being a cow. I love cows. Or a sheep, or a duck. I'm not going to be corralled, and my passion is lobotomized by servitude. That will not happen. So Facebook is something I barely use at all. I've downloaded all my photos, all my videos, in case they shut me down, which I don't give a shit. And I've tried to shut myself down, but they won't let it. What else? Instagram, they can go take the middle finger and, strut. So basically, I think what we're going through for many of us who are in the business of ascending ourselves and helping others as much as we can to ascend, not to be distracted anymore. We got all of what we needed, unless something fantastic like TikTok, or unless, guess what? We get a real leader that comes into the White House and totally, vetoes it and puts it back on play, unless that miracle happens, which would take us all voting, and not the not the two parties that we've been offered, the lesser two evils concept, which again is a lack frequency. So all of that is connected to twin flames, and I'll tell you why. Twin flames are human beings. Duh, right? We know this. But when a twin flame is entrenched in 3D survival, meaning you've got twin flames who need to get a second job, or you have a twin flame that is living with their spouse because it's cheaper to keep him or her, because together they own a home, and there's a mortgage to pay, and grocery bills to pay, and children to raise. And because now money and groceries and all of these things that make up our day-to-day living becomes an amazing level of stress. You see, when that occurs, your twin flame, who might be in 3D, maybe a little tiptoe into 3.5D, meaning, getting more awakened, will not have the bandwidth to do it. So what happens to our leadership and our day-to-day and how they vote to fuck us over, let's be honest, to keep us distracted from, doing what we need to do to ascend, which means it takes time, it takes energy, and it certainly doesn't come from being in a survival mode. That's why starseeds, the ones who are really busting their balulis to wake up the mass, many of them are involved. They have one foot in spirituality and one foot in political dialogue. One cannot survive without the other, because unless we have a new infrastructure, which means no infrastructure, less government, less bullshit, less of all of this, then at that point we can have a one income family, or we can have more abundance for everyone. And we can relax into buying books and reading and meditating and studying and having circles and talking. And none of us in the Starseed community want war, want lack, and are looking to have a private jet. We're not actually looking for that. Most of the twin flames I talk to, pretty much all of them, are very similar. They may be hunters, right? Some of them. And I don't denigrate them at all on that level, because I'm not. But they all want one thing: land, peace, freedom, clean water, unpolluted food, and the ability not to be taxed to levels that are stupid. You know what I mean? Levels of taxation that goes on and on and on, from chewing gum to this, it just goes on and on and on. And that will mess you up and can mess you up. And that's why sometimes you might be on this incredible high where you're doing really, really well in your ascension journey with your spiritual things that you're doing. Maybe you're meditating and you're fucking kicking ass on your meditation. You're doing it every day. Maybe you're even doing an hour every day. This is you're blissed out. You're doing your yoga, or you're doing whatever else you're doing. You're studying herbs. You're studying apothecary. healing herbs, whatever it is, sound healing, whatever it is. And then boom, something comes in the form where you have to pay a bill. And a bill you can't pay, your car broke down, something happened, you got laid off, whatever, or your hours are cut, whatever the hell is going on. That will throw you and can throw you in a tailspin. This is why many of us are actually so hell-bent on forming communities. And I don't mean cults. There's a big fucking difference, okay? Communities mean I have a cottage over here, I grow my stuff, you have a cottage over there, you grow your stuff, we're friendly, we share books, we have tea, we watch our kids play, or grandkids, whatever the hell it is. And you're teaching me how to crochet, and I'm teaching you about breath work. Hello. It's not a cult. It's community. It's fun. It's bonfires. It's potlucks. It's sharing stories around the fire. Or around whatever, the table. It's funny too, because when you look at Europeans and how they have, say, Sunday dinner, you'll see them having their massive tables that are put out with white tablecloths. And you'll have a family of 20, I'm not joking, 20 to 30 people outside with the kids running, the grandkids running, all over the place. They have like a family home or whatever. They all invited. They all pile up. They have wine. They drink. They whatever. And they talk for hours and hours and hours. And then they nap. And they come back out. That's community. It's something we miss. And this is why many of us are homesick. Because at the very least, if we had community, it would give us a taste of the nectar of being home. Whereas when we were starseed on some other planets, we had that. It was effortless. It felt peaceful. It filled our whole entire being with a sense of being completely and utterly fulfilled. And I'm sure you have memories of that, even if it's flashes like Polaroid shots or essences of it. Let me see what you guys are sharing. I would love to read what you're saying. I fantasize about having a nice collective community as well. Seems like a dream, but it's not a dream. It's not something that's out of touch. It's something that what you want. Many of us want, Zani. Many of us want the same thing, something similar. Do you see what I'm saying? And we're looking for each other. We're trying to find each other. There are a lot of people, like for me, I have to tell you that I'm one step closer to having a community, but I'm still, an ocean separates me from what I know is the community I'm going to look for and I'm going to find, right? Actually, they're looking for me too. You got to believe that. You got to believe that what you seek is seeking you, right? Great line. Love that line. What you seek is seeking you. That is one of the best lines ever written, in my opinion. So don't despair. It's not a dream. It's a vision. And visions become goals. And goals become reality. And so you have to put one foot in front of the other. Where are people like me? Well, they don't live here. Well, then maybe I should move. And easier said than done, right? Because, again, money can be something that prevents you. Or it could be fear. Okay? If you're afraid of the unknown, not you personally, but anyone out here that's listening to this, if you're afraid of the unknown, you're going to have to work on that, like big time. And the fear of the unknown, the breaching of that fear can take many forms. I know of a psychic channeler, and believe me, I would never fucking do this, but she does, and I give her fucking thumbs up. But she'll jump out of airplanes, okay? She parachutes. That's her thing. It scares the fuck out of her to the point where she does it to overcome her fear. And I think that it broke a lot of, calcifications inside of her to overcome many of her preconceived idea of who she is in this incarnation, and brought her to a realization that she's much more than that. And she started channeling, okay? Some pretty massive downloads. And so however you breach through the fear, it could be that you've never traveled to a foreign country before. You should. There was this girl that went to, African-American girl, beautiful girl. I think she was 27 or thereabouts, under 27, thereabouts, okay? She went to Afghanistan. Now, you and I both know that's fucking, it's, people say, oh my God, don't go, right? She couldn't believe how she was treated. She did a whole thing on TikTok. She's on TikTok. I follow her. And I thought that was tremendous. Okay, that she went to Afghanistan. She met these people. She respected their culture, which means she wore the veils. Yeah, she wore, a veil, a cloth, whatever, which Mother Mary would have worn, by the way, 2,000 years ago. Many women wore that, so it's not, So she wore that to respect where she is. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. It's not a joke. I don't understand people who go to foreign countries and don't take the time to understand the culture, the religion, and how to blend. Why would you want to stand out like a sore thumb? I don't I don't understand that at all. So she went ahead and did what she needed to do, and they adored her. They adored her. You would have thought, well, she's young, she's a woman, it could be dangerous because she's a woman, right? She's beautiful. It could have been anything. Nothing went wrong. In fact, she's looking forward to go back. So that should say something. So, the perceptions that were sold about certain countries is really slanted. Like, what was the guy who went to, oh God, bloody hell. Tucker Carlson went to Russia, right? And I actually didn't watch the whole interview, not because I didn't have the bandwidth, the time, whatever. I was really busy with clients and my twin and moving and all that. But I'm going to watch it anyway. But the one thing that I saw was him going to Russia in a supermarket, and he filled up the cart with what he said was going to be 2 weeks worth of food. And him, the journalist, the other cameraman, the sound man, whoever, right? He had like his guys saying, yeah, it's going to be like definitely $400. It was $104, $104. Now you guys all remember the days, well, many of you don't actually, to be quite, but some of us remember when $100 would get you 2 weeks worth of food, a massive amount of food. The fridge was filled for 2 weeks. No, for two people, $100, solid. So there's the fact that that's still even possible in any other country but ours. The fact that many of you are living with two people in your household, it's you and your partner or whatever, or where the average grocery bill is $1,200 for two people. Yeah, there's something wrong with that, my friend. That's like fucking rent, okay? For many. And I'm just seeing way too many people in their 20s. I was going into the hospital to see my twin, and I heard two young women under 30 talking about getting a fucking second job. That is not okay unless you're saving a shitload of money. You're working like an animal to save money to go to a foreign country, to not say, work for 6 months. So you're going, I'm going to take two jobs. I'm going to just pay my bills. I'm going to live like a Spartan. I'm going to save a shitload of money. I'm going to quit my jobs. And for 6 months, I don't have to work. And I'm going to travel. Do you know in the 80s and 90s, that's what a lot of kids in their 20s were doing? But today, kids in their 20s are getting two jobs not to live in a tent. See, the reasoning are different now. And that is tragic. And it's because we have the worst leadership. I don't even want to use that word. It's insulting. But the worst people in power that really don't give a fuck. Even the ones that think, everyone's, OAC. Girl, fucking then start talking. What are you saying? Are you coming out? Are you fighting? Are you pushing back? Are you exposing what's going on? Or are you afraid for your, So there's a lot that is really a lot of, what is the word I want to use? Posing. There was a guy who was a senator. His name was Adam Clayton Powell Jr. During the civil rights, during Jim Crow, okay? He was 1/8 black or thereabouts, and he came from the Aboriginal Baptist Church. He was a senator. By the way, he was a playboy. He'd play around. He'd go to Bimini, do his little junkets, ha. But man, did he pass some fucking bills. He passed massive bills at a time where racism was law. So if a man can pass bills that help people all over the country and push programs to help people all over the country, irregardless of their skin color, though his was not the, approved skin color of that time with Jim Crow and so forth. If he could do it under that climate, okay, then what the fuck are our people doing in power right now is my question to you. And all of that is a very important question to ask, because some of you are very fortunate. You own your home. You have a good business. You're thriving financially, but it is not the reality of many starseeds around the world. There are brilliant starseeds that we We are losing to the crushing will of this kind of system. And we're losing them because they cannot breathe enough to awaken, enough to believe in their power to come with some of these glorious downloads that only them could actually offer to us. We're losing out. And so we need to get serious about the political atmosphere because it is impacting us. It is a spiritual lobotomy that's happening. And it's something I hope you'll consider when November comes around. Time to fire a shitload of people is my point. Let me see here. Lack of trust. Hi, Tony. Hey, lady, how much money a week do Russians make? I love that question. You know why I love that question? Let me explain to you that question. Who gives a shit? Because there are Russians that are rich as fuck in Moscow. And they've been rich since the 90s. They've been rich. A lot of them. Massively rich. Did you know that? Not to mention, this goes along the line of, well, you know, they only pay you $2 a day, but, you know, they're used to that. That's how they live. People who make $2 a day live in shacks. I don't care where you live in the world. If you're living in a shack, you're not doing too good. Okay? Unless you choose to live in a shack and you're making $100,000 a year. And you just and there are people who do that. There are people who literally who live the van life. They choose it, but they've got about $2 to $3 million in the bank. Okay, they don't need to live van life. They want to. So when you ask the question, but how much do Russians make? I laugh because here we go again with the idea that Russians are broke or Russians don't have money. A lot of them have a lot more fucking money than we do. That's not the point. The point about Russia is that it's not a for-profit. Medicine is not a for-profit. Food is not a for-profit. There's certain things that they do for the betterment of their society. They have an idea that maybe happy citizens make for a good country. You know what I mean? And they went through hell. Let's be honest. Okay, that's a country that had to come out of the dark ages when Pushkin, I don't know if you guys know anything about Alexander Pushkin. Alexander Pushkin was born, I think, I'm trying to remember, I think it was 1820s thereabouts, I think, if I'm correct. Anyway, he was sent to France to study culture. The connection between the French and the Russian there's a long history. Anyway, so because they were in the dark ages, and I believe it was Peter the Great who wanted to get the Russians out of the dark ages, so he sent Alexander Pushkin to France to learn culture, this and that and the other, and whatever the fuck he learned. And then he was sent back to Russia and brought a lot of that beauty and a lot of that stuff back to Russia. And then, of course, we had the Russian Revolution. All revolutions are a fucking nightmare. No kidding. But that one was in particular infamous, obviously. And they've paid their dues. And they're finally apparently having their golden era, their golden age. There was I don't know if you guys know that, but there was a Netflix special where it was called Fasting, simply that, fasting. So in Russia, you can actually apply to go to a fasting clinic, but they do your blood work and you're lifting weights, you're in nature, blah, 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 but you're only drinking water. So it's not like it's an expense. But anyway, you can actually apply and the Russian government will send you there. And they will pay for your healing journey. We know fasting. Anyway, I'm not going to go too much into it. Suffice it to say, because again, it's not medical, blah, blah, blah. And TikTok, I don't want TikTok to pull the plug on that. But the point is that video is gone now. It was on Amazon Prime, and it was very, very inspiring to me. Because there were people there for 2 weeks, people there for 1 week, people there for 40 days. And they were going through their healing journey. I know that my grandmother in Switzerland, it's a thing, it's called une cure. And une cure means that you're going to go to a place for a week or two. You're going to get massages, you're going to get colonics, you're going to get potage, meaning a consommé, which is just broth. And you go through a purge. Her brain was as sharp as a tack when she died in 94. In other words, no dementia, no bullshit. She was sharp as a tack. So there's something about that. So going back to Russia, the point is you've got a government, and China's the same way, by the way. China has a process where If a village, if people get sick, the doctor gets docked. So there is a system in place where healing is not a for-profit. It just isn't. This is something particularly problematic in this country. Okay, it is a problem because before COVID, if you've paid attention to anything, there were Americans going in busloads. I know you guys know this, going on busloads to get insulin in Canada. Do you remember that? Because they couldn't afford it here. Okay, so they had to busload over there and make a massive purchase of insulin so they could survive. Can you imagine? So how is somebody who's dealing with that need, which is survival, right? If I don't have insulin, I will die, right? Obviously. How is that person going to go through a spiritual process of ascension if everything's about, gathering their money to go and buy something as simple as insulin, something that should be damn near free? Okay? So there's an imbalance. And we need to start talking about that more and more. And we need to demand this imbalance of wealth. It needs to be, dispersed. In Europe, in France in particular, I know that the taxation is massive. If you're like in a threshold of, that's why Tina Turner lived there, but she actually was still paying American taxes because she was living there, but not paying all the other taxes like property taxes. You get what I'm saying? She wasn't paying all these other taxes, food tax, this tax, gas tax, this school tax. None of that was there. So she got all the benefits of living in Europe, but paying only the one tax. Do you get what I'm saying? And so that's why she basically remained an American citizen and continued getting all the benefits of living the European life. In Europe, if you're into the millions, they tax the fuck out of you. If you're making a certain amount lower than that, obviously, if you're like a middle class, they tax you accordingly. Here, they got loopholes. They've got trust funds where if you have a trust fund and you have $100 million in the trust fund, it can be, depending on the year you're doing that, you've set up your trust fund, and depending on, the year, each year, you could have $100 million and nothing's taxed at all, as long as it's a trust fund. So the average person doesn't have a trust fund, right? So when you ask me, going back to your question, well, how much do they earn in Russia? My cousin lived in Russia for 20 years. He's French. He was a chef. He's a head chef. And married a Russian girl, Russian kids, the whole bit. They're not poor. I don't know where people got this idea. Is there poverty in Russia? Yes, just like in any other country. France, there's poverty. In Indonesia, there's poverty. In the Bahamas, there's poverty. Yes, it's everywhere. But the $100 for 2 weeks of groceries, yeah, that's not going to cut it. That doesn't cut it because it still doesn't excuse our situation where, we've got some problems. Now, on the food quality, I was at the hospital talking to a Jamaican nurse, right? A Caribbean nurse. I'm not sure which part. I think she was Jamaican. She had a beautiful lilting accent. And I was telling her that I just bought bananas from Whole Foods. Now, you guys might say, oh my God, Whole Foods, that's expensive. No, it isn't if you shop smart. In Whole Foods, you can buy organic beans of any kind for $1.29 a can. You can go to Walmart and they're $2.99 or $2.35 and it's not organic, okay? It's Goya. It's not organic. But here I am buying bananas from Ecuador and I open it and what do I see? Little black seeds. I'm like so excited. Oh my God, little black seeds. You realize bananas today don't have anything in them, right? All right. So I'm talking to her I'm mashing up bananas for my twin and I'm feeding him. And I said, yeah, these bananas and she was all excited, Caribbean, she knows what food should look like. And I said, yeah, I just don't go, I won't go to Walmart. Fuck them, the fuck, I bought a red pepper. It would not fucking cook. It was like I was cooking plastic. She went, oh my God, me too. I went, what? You too? She went, yeah, I got some red peppers and green peppers and it would not cook down. And I was like, this is insane. So when I went to Whole Foods to do my shopping, I looked at all the groceries that I bought and I went, holy crap, I actually spent $50 less than I would have in Walmart. So rethink your idea about these stores. Because I'm going to tell you something. When you go to Trader, and I'm telling you this so you guys can thrive through this. Because if you believe Walmart's cheaper, you're out of your bloody, you're not a good shopper. I was looking at a basket, just a fucking basket, okay? And I was just a little basket to put my fucking cutlery in, okay? $18.99 at Walmart. Do you know I can go to Home Goods and I'll be $6.99? Same fucking basket, $6.99. Trader Joe's has pasta in Italy, made in Italy for 99 cents. I don't understand why people aren't thinking. And they're all going to Walmart like, oh my God, this is the place. This is the place. And they're getting totally slammed by prices and by food that is definitely Appel labeled, whatever the fuck the label is. So food and water, but definitely food, is going to give you either blockages, to be honest, or ascending light codes. I'm not being funny. If you buy apples, and I know you know this, especially if some of you who are farmers market people, you go to the farmhouses or to markets, open markets, air markets, and you buy your apples, you buy your pears, you buy your oranges, and hopefully it's approachable in price. But anyway, the difference is so intense in the food, isn't it? Is it not? You cut into the apple or you bite into the apple or the pear. It feels like a different vibration, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Because when you buy it from, I'm done with Walmart. I'm like, I'll just buy trash bags there, if at all. I'm being real. So really think about how you're shopping and how you're being brainwashed to believe that these stores are expensive. Are things in Whole Foods expensive? You fucking A, they are. You can buy pâté de foie gras. You can buy cheeses from Europe. You can buy champagne. Of course it's expensive. But if you're smart, you're going to look at certain things and you're going to realize, holy shit, what am I doing? Why am I $1.29 for organic, any beans, pinto beans, black beans, any fucking bean you want, garbanzos, whatever you want. It's $1.29 a can. Now, the only other place that actually matches that price would be Trader Joe's. That's it. So rethink, is it a pain in the ass to go all over the place? Yeah, it is, but just shop for 2 weeks and you're set. Lay down some money and you'll find that you won't be going out as often. You'll be set, you'll be good, and then whatever else you're buying is from, the farmer's market or whatever. But everything we do right now is going to help us eat better quality, higher nutrition. Not to mention, we're going to feel more relaxed if we see our dollars stretching in just a basic needs like groceries. I'm appalled that so many people have decided that these other supermarkets are better. It's bizarre to me. Any questions on that? Any questions on that? I boycott Walmart. You know what? I had just moved here, and that was the closest place. Food is owned by private equity firms that are looking to use the cheapest ingredients. I agree with you. Commercial bananas are clones. Well, not the ones I saw. Not the ones. I don't know what he's doing right now. Jeff Bezos, I guess he feels guilty, because he'll say, well, fuck, I'm not going to part with my 177 billion, but I'll give them fucking real bananas with seeds, and I'll give them pineapples from Ecuador for the same damn price you'd buy in a Walmart, and it's Dole, and I definitely boycott Dole. I hadn't eaten bananas in 6 months because I would not buy Dole. I refuse. I used to go to a co-op up in Nevada City, California, and I'd buy their bananas, same thing, Ecuador. So it's a pain in the ass to look for stuff, but it's worth it. Now, on the side note, if you have land, you already know what to do. If you don't already have chickens, you should have chickens. Chickens, if nothing at all. I know Gandhi used to eat unfertilized eggs, which means you don't have a rooster, right? It's not fertilized. But, the eggs are great for all kinds of other things. You can give them to your neighbors. You can create this beautiful community of people. You can donate your eggs to people who need the eggs if you're a vegetarian like I am. Does that make sense? But on another note, the chickens will actually eat up all the ticks, which I found out recently. So I'm like all up about chickens now. But I'm going to tell you something. When we look at the disparity in our country, because we've remained so silent about our political views because we didn't want to offend, and just remember, and I'm glad people are finally mentioning this. Remember, our forefathers went fucking apeshit. I mean, nuts on the Boston Tea Party with the tea tax. They lost their shit on one item that was overtaxed. And from what I heard, if I'm correct, and I might be wrong, okay, but I think it was like a 3% increase. Whatever. The point is, tea. They lost their shit. One thing, one item, and that was it. That was enough for them. So what happened in our complacency is my question. And, again, remember the civil rights. Let's take some notes. What did they do? They stopped taking the bus. African Americans stopped taking the bus. And it crippled, it showed who had some money. Because there was this weird idea that those people don't have money. No, fucking, hello. Now what? What are you going to do now? So all of these moves that were very peaceful, just like what Gandhi was doing, which Martin Luther King had totally was inspired by Gandhi, as you well know. I hope you know that, and followed those footsteps of peaceful resistance. All the greatest leaders have done it that way. They've never used violence. Violence begets violence. Unfortunately, it never really works out. We all have it in us where we could totally lose our shit, but honestly, that's us in past lives, and we don't need to keep living those some scars again and again. They haven't worked, or else we wouldn't be here in 3D. So what we have to do is realize our magic and realize that we have to manifest. If you can manifest healing, massive healing from cancer or whatever, whatever is going on in one's body, and people have done it again and again, it's documented, it's proven, it's shown. So if people can do that, then imagine them doing us doing it individually and collectively, where we see a new earth. And that's been the whole conversation that many starseeds are having on this platform and on in private talks, in retreats. That's the conversation. And really, no one is looking to, become a billionaire and be on a jet plane. Many of us just dream of a little cabin on the beach, or something very sweet, very quaint, where we have good friends, good neighbors, and we feel safe and we're good. Some of you are artists. Some of you don't even have the time to create art. It's crazy. So we need to make massive changes. November is coming around, and we need to get serious. It takes less than 1% of a given population to raise the consciousness of a community. I've heard that before, Budsy. And so let me read it again. It takes less than 1% of a given population to raise the consciousness of a community. I honestly agree, 100%. I see the Dole plantation in Ecuador every time I go. Food is owned. Okay, gotcha. Well, but the thing is, the label I see on those bananas doesn't say Dole, because it would say Dole. Okay, when it says and by the way, you start realizing the difference in the way the bananas look. It must be a different farm, but Dole doesn't own everything, because thank God there are countries that have enough brains to stop that kind of Pac-Man kind of idealism that it's okay to own everything, to just just gobble it up. And I know they were trying that shit in France in the 1990s, like early 90s. I'll never forget that. In France, I think it was a merger between Time Warner Cable and a French company, and the government stopped it. They went, yeah, we get the fuck out of here. We don't want you here. And it's smart. You don't want to be you don't want a country to be owned by corporations to that level of it's too much of a tight fist around around the collective throat of a people. But so I can tell you that the bananas that I see are different. They're a different shape. They're not big. Dole puts out bananas that are like, I don't know, freaking long. And it's interesting because even when they spoil, you'll see the skin turn black, right? You open it up and the flesh is white or a little brown, but it's beautiful. It tastes fantastic. It tastes like almost like it's amazing. Okay, there's both real and GMO seeds there. No, I'm talking about the seeds in the bananas. Bananas don't have seeds anymore. If you see, I pay attention to shit like that. Like, one of the things I noticed is that watermelons, everyone's selling watermelons that have no seeds. And it's like, why would I buy something with no seeds? Clearly, that is not its normal. It wasn't created with no seeds. Now, you could tell me, well, watermelons like 300 years ago didn't even look like the watermelons we see today. And I'd say, okay, cool. But watermelons or any type of cantaloupe melon has always had seeds. So now suddenly I can't find a watermelon with seeds to save my life. So of course I'm going to grow my own, right? And not from the seeds from a packet that I get here. It's going to be something that is more like what they call heirloom seeds, right? Heirloom meaning and I remember seeing that back in the 80s. PBS had done a whole special on, I think it was like a 3-4 part series on how these farmers, these little gardeners really, were actually collecting and mailing seeds to each other and cataloging seeds that were rare, that were damn near going to be extinct, and that were special. And the term heirloom came from that, and then it kind of got used because it was considered a catchphrase or a catchword to attract organic growers and gardeners. But I'll never forget that. So there's a particular plant, a tomato plant, that was first brought in, smuggled into this country by Sicilians. It's a tomato. It's right here in New York, upstate New York. And what's funny is that people all know, and they all get that particular tomato type. And it's like a Roma tomato, but it's a little bigger, and it's striated with these little colors like brown, a little yellow, and a little green. It's the most incredible tomato I've ever had. So people know the shoot has a patent as well. The RNA stand. The shot has a patent as well. Yeah, but I'm not going to talk about that because anybody that's got any... Buddy, I'm not going to talk about that because honestly, it's not going to get us anywhere. People who know, and people who don't, we're not here to convince them. It's too late to convince anyone. If people haven't figured that one out yet, it makes no sense. There was a book that you might want to look at, Budsy, called Biotech Century. You should buy it because it sounds to me like you're very interested in that subject, and it is a very, very interesting subject. It's called Biotech Century, and you'll know it's the right book because it came out in the 90s, mid-90s. That's the one you want to get. But yeah, TikTok is doing its best, but it's also being attacked. And we have senators who still don't understand that if you're having weird shit coming up on your feed on a TikTok, right? If you're seeing, how do I put it? Weird, inappropriate shit, it's because you were looking for it. Because when I'm on my feed, everything that's on my feed is related to what I was looking at, as you all know. So these senators really put their foot up in their mouths when they made their little comments about what they were finding, which was hysterically so it was almost like exposing themselves in the train station. You know what I'm saying? It was like, but they didn't even realize they had just done it. So we've got some whack jobs that they need to move on, they need to get fired. And that's been my whole call to arms. Get serious about November. Start studying who's running. I know Kennedy is looking to run, right? He is running independently. I personally, I'm going to donate my time to get on the phones and to talk to people about change. Because some of the things that he's talking about are absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He's looking to actually put the currency of this country on a blockchain so that every American can see where the money's going. That means if you can look up crypto and whatever, you can actually see, the wallets are open and public. If you guys know anything a little bit, I don't know that much about crypto, by the way, but I know this much. And you can see who owns what, how much of this coin or that coin they own. But for a while, I don't know if you know this, but for a while they were selling to the government, okay? And it went on unnoticed, quote unquote, unnoticed for years, where they were selling $16,000 toilet seats, okay? Bullshit like that was going on for decades, not years, decades. So putting the currency on blockchain would set up a situation where you and I could look at what's going on with the money, who's buying what, who's paying what to who. The purchasing coordinator would not be able to get their palms greased without the whole world knowing what the fuck's going on. That kind of shit. So transparency across the board would be happening. So the fact that he's bringing that up right off the bat, for me, he's my huckleberry. Like, I'm like, dude, you had me at Kennedy, but fuck yeah, blockchain. Okay, I'm your huckleberry. I'm in. So you need to start doing research. Don't be passive and start talking to people about who you're voting. Well, it's none of my business. I shouldn't ask. No, it's your business, because you need to know who you hang with, how they're thinking, what's going on, and you can convince them out of their myopic views of, let's go to Trump or let's go to Biden. Please, let's not do this one again. It's boring. It's like, here we go again. We need new blood. To be honest with you, and this is me as an elder telling you this, we have too many old senators. They need to go and retire. Get the fuck off the stage. Go retire. Go suck your lollipop. You got your money. Leave us the fuck alone. Let's get some 30-year-olds coming in and walking in. And a lot of these 20, 30-year-olds are star seeds. They've come specifically in these incarnations to do specifically massive changes. Okay, some of them will be fuck ups. I'm going to be, because they're completely under the veils of amnesia. They actually drink the Kool-Aid. But you will have some starseeds that are badasses. And we can't have them get voted in if we have 70, 80-year-old men and women who are still, pushing their agendas to get more greased palms through lobbyists and more things going on that are going to preclude new blood, new thought, new exciting ideas and visions. The fact that Kennedy is talking about blockchain, I've been following this guy since 1998, when he wrote a very important article in the Rolling Stone magazine, which I cannot mention in this live, by the way. I can't, because I'll get pulled. I got pulled once before mentioning it, so I won't do it again. However, if you want to hear these kinds of conversations, if you want to talk about ascension, if you want to talk about sacred intimacy, if you want to hear me talk about, and you getting involved in the dialogue in a real way on a Zoom call, that kind of thing, yeah, join my Patreon so we can actually mobilize, organize, and create communities and create philosophical interchange of ideas. Oh, you live here. Well, maybe that would be a better approach. Things like that. But as long as we stay separated in some sense, as long as I'm on the soapbox and then you're listening and only giving me one line sentences, only because the system can't give you more. You can't type a whole paragraph in this, obviously, and I can't, obviously. So that's going to be something that you may want to consider joining. Okay, but on another note, definitely look into Kennedy. Do your research. I'm not telling you to. I'm not. Yes, I am telling you to consider voting for him. You might say, well, we're taking the vote away from the Democratic, taking away the vote from those two. Look at where they've taken us in the last 40 years. Let me ask you this. You went to high school, all of you. Is education any better now than it was when you went? I mean, be honest with yourself. Is it? Or is it the same or even less than it was? And if it's less than it was, then all the things we were promised, we're going to put lotto in, and the lotto is going to bring money to the kids, and it'll be for books and school and this. Then why are we cutting art programs? Art can be the very reason why people survive high school. Art, I know for some kids, art is the very lifeblood of their soul. Art, music, philosophy. Those three aspects should be part of a curriculum. It should not be boy, let's keep the sports. And yes, let's keep the sports, but let's keep the sports for everyone in the school, not just for the athletes. And that's something we need to start looking at, reformatting education. Let's look at what people were experiencing in the 1930s and 40s. In high school. How did it look? What was the curriculum? What were they learning? How were they learning? And so on. And who is actually doing better in the world of education? I heard it was Denmark. I think it's Denmark. It's either Denmark. You'll have to correct. No, it's not Denmark. Excuse me. I believe it's Norway. I believe it's Norway. And there, the kids get no homework, none. And they have the highest test scores. No homework. And most of them go to school for, I think, between 3 to 4 hours. That's it. Because at the end of the day, are you training somebody to think? Think. Or are you training someone to just regurgitate information that is meaningless to them? Art helps people think. Music helps people think. Philosophy creates dialogue to help people think for themselves. And it's interesting how those are not in junior high and high schools. You know, that's kind of very damaging. Let me see here. Yes, love art and entertainment since a kid. Yeah, I remember it's very important for kids. Some kids, it's the only reason why they would show up to school was there was art, there was photography classes, there was a theater. Theater is important. It's all important, but yet, boom, they cut it, and especially in the lower class and in the how do we put this? In the ghettos. They cut all the pleasure that a kid could actually get. Many kids have discovered themselves through these classes, through art, through poetry, through all of these expressive ways of figuring themselves out, especially at this very tender and very volatile age. It's a volatile age, especially now. It must be even worse than it ever was for half of us here. So anyway, any comments or questions? So the kids that are coming up, they have viewpoints from the 50s and 60s. Quantum physics is destroying the duality paradigm. They have viewpoints from the 50s and 60s. Yeah, it is worse. I agree. I think the points of the 50s and 60s, there's some good points to it. And it depends on what country in the 50s and 60s. You know, when you say 50s and 60s, you then have to add in America, in France, in Italy, in Spain, in London, in Ireland. You have to connect that with the country, because each country, and that is still true today, is experiencing something completely different than what another country is experiencing, right? So whatever was happening in the 50s and 60s, with some of the senators, we have people in power who are senators who are so comfortable, overly comfortable, meaning they're having their lunches with their cronies, there's the club, there's the brandy, there's the underlings that run around, there's the inappropriate things that go on behind closed doors and sometimes not so close. They're too fucking old, period. And some of them are too whacked up. I don't think, and again, this is me saying something probably a little dangerous, I don't think someone's religious idealism should enter in any framework, because it's damaging. Because it's no different than any other religion being dogmatic. And I'm concerned by some of the things I'm seeing right now, especially right now, with the colleges and the universities and kids protesting, which they're supposed to. When you're a young person in university, it's an exercise of thought. It's an exercise of self-expression. Something's not going well in some aspects, right? And they disagree with their government. They're supposed to be allowed to protest peacefully. And this jackass, Speaker of the House, is coming with his religious idealism, his dogma. I mean, he is a throwback of the 50s and 60s, actually. So we have to look at people and go, is this person objective or subjective? And no, just like an attorney and a judge can't be subjective, they have to be objective. We have to demand that from our political representation. They cannot walk into office and bring their own religious and philosophical ideas based on their religious ideas onto the world stage. It is not appropriate. It isn't. It comes out very toxic. It's suppression, and it's actually, it smacks of evil. It is. So we're seeing a replication of actually what was happening in the 60s during the protests with the Vietnam War. Same thing is happening, actually. And Is anyone shocked? I'm shocked. I'll tell you why. I'm shocked that our kids are being educated as they are, right? To just take tests, not to think for themselves, coming out with thought and realizing that there's something unjust and unfair going on, right? That it's not right for some of their friends having to have 3 jobs just to make ends meet. They're also seeing their parents who have struggled to get them in college. They're seeing inequality across the board. You know why they're seeing that? Because they're star seeds. They're star seeds. Many of them were born in 2000, right? And they're coming in, and they're coming in fighting. They're not going to take any bullshit. They're irreverent. They don't give a fuck. You know, they see things for what they are, and and they know it's wrong. And remember, they are young bodies. These are ancient souls that have come in to say, yeah, we're here to right the wrongs. This isn't going to work. Well, I'll come in. I'll incarnate. I'll volunteer. 3 ways of volunteers. You're seeing the ways of volunteers, and they're expressing themselves in universities all over the world, as a matter of fact, in the right way. That is their duty. That is their mission. They came in to do that, to not be ostriches in the sand, but to be the conscious voice that advocates for those who can't speak. I don't see what the problem is. I don't see why we would denigrate. I don't see why we have a Speaker of the House who thinks that it's okay to act like... somebody who very, very clever actually did a splicing of 2 screens where you're seeing the similar conversation going on in the 60s regarding the civil rights, and not the civil rights, excuse me, the Vietnam War protests, Kent State, and the same idiot that's speaker of what? Who are you speaking for? None of them are speaking for anyone. They're not speaking for me. I wouldn't mind if my taxes were to help homeless people. I wouldn't mind that at all. If they could take my tax money and literally eradicate homelessness in this country, which they could do, probably in less than 90 days. They could absolutely do it. You know why I know that? Because when there was a particular president from a particular country, San Francisco, which is riddled with homelessness, overnight was completely cleaned up so that his car cortege wouldn't have to set his eyes on the failure of the governor of California. So overnight, they came in and swept the homelessness. I'm sure you've heard about that. It's happening all over the country where they're literally, these people are disappearing. No one knows where they are. I've yet to see someone with all the social media and these, Obama phones or whatever you want to call them, coming out going, yeah, I was part of a sweep. If you have heard of that, let me know, because I'm curious. Because every time there's a sweep, other homeless people that were, say, 6 blocks away, maybe 10 blocks away, come back to see their friend. They're gone. And they're like, I haven't seen them since. Where the fuck are they going? So there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of weird things going on that is totally not appropriate, that should not be acceptable. And our young people are doing their very best to right the wrongs in a very peaceful manner, in a very honorable manner, and they're being treated like criminals, like they're criminals. That's not okay. Not in my book. Not these young, beautiful minds. And again, like I said, they're ancient souls in new bodies. And they've come in as a wave of volunteer. And they somehow, which is a fucking miracle considering the education here, they've been able to breach through these veils of amnesia, if you will. And they're coming out fighting because at the end of the day, they are incredibly evolved. They have incredible compassion, and they can see when something is unjust and unfair. And they're doing their best to right it, to fix it. So that's what we're looking at here. It's very draconian, absolutely. The rich one classes. Well, when you look at certain countries, they've always had class systems. This is not new. But I think that as we approach the new earth, we're realizing how stupid this has all been, how we've been manipulated, divide and conquering the genders. I've talked about it with Andromeda Flame. How they're trying to get the twin flames communities to not believe in their own power by allowing the twin flame universe, and a lot of these cults and these charlatans who claim they're twin flames, who claim they're twin rays, all of that. They claim a lot of shit, and they're full of shit. Yeah, and they're thieves, is what they are, and they're making sure that that's in the public eye, so that the average Joe and the average Jane will look at that and go, "Oh, twin flames, it's all bullshit. It's all in there. It's all New Age crap. New Age. How funny." That shit's so ancient you can't even imagine. Goes back before there was planet Earth, before it had ever been established with human life. That's how far back it goes. How do I know? Because I've actually remembered my own past lives on other planets with my twin. That's how I know. It's pretty amazing. And you know what? I'm not the only one who remembers. Of course, no kidding. There's tons of us. There's millions of us who remember. So they're trying to create a sense of despair in us by making us not believe, by second guessing, by making us gaslight ourselves. Why gaslight us when we can gaslight ourselves? And so this concept of creating lack of self-worth, not feeling good enough, pretty enough, good looking enough, rich enough, educated, all of that. Oh, well, I don't have credentials. How can I talk about it? I don't know. Are you getting downloads? Yeah. Are you channeling like massive energy and a beautiful energy of, say, a collective consciousness, or maybe just one consciousness? Are you doing? Yeah. So why in the fuck do you need a master's to start talking about it? I know that Shelley Andrew, I think her name is Shelley. I'm trying to remember, but she channels the Theo, right? I think she started that shit when she was a housewife in the late 60s, early 70s. She was a housewife. No education. There are multiple people who are channeling massive downloads or consciousness. They're so beautiful from other realms, other dimensions. And it just they had like, there's one called Roxanne, who's a transgender, who in her, him, he was a car salesman, became Roxanne. She started coming to this awakening in self-realizing what she really was, what she wanted to embody in this incarnation. And she started to channel an ancient language, a mathematical language. And she is now a channeler. There are a lot of people channeling. You'd be surprised. A year ago, I'm a milkman. Then I'm being funny here. But a year ago, I'm working at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's. The next year, I'm fucking channeling, and people they're hearing people. They're like, word of mouth. My God, go see him or her. This person is incredible. They're not missing a beat. For 30 years, they walked this planet not knowing who they were, until they started deciding, I'm really depressed. I'm not feeling well. Let me start meditating. Let me do some high frequency music. Oh my God, I'm channeling. It's happening like that to a lot of people. It's not some elite shit. Okay. It's not elite. Okay. You don't have to be going to anyone for that to happen. And believe me, there's a difference between schizophrenia and that. You can tell the difference. Trust me. Because I'll have clients coming in, and they'll tell me shit like I'm Mary Magdalena, or, which it could be possible, but not, but you and I, if we all sat around, you'd agree, yeah, that's not Mary Magdalena. Definitely not. I've had people come to me who said this, that, and the other about their spiritual evolution and their ascension, and that they had ascended. I don't take those people on as clients. Do you know why? Because I'm not going to feed into their delusion. And because I'm not going to feed into the delusion, and I don't want to take on such karma, because, it's not, I gently cut them loose. It's kind of like, you fish and you catch a fish that's too small, or a fish that's so beautiful, you should throw it back in. You should have mercy. There's certain people I don't want to work with because I'm not going to cater to their delusion. And it's not healthy for me to tear down their delusion, because it could be the only thing that keeps them standing. And who the hell am I to tear it down, right? So I'm really careful with people, because some people really, that's all they got. And the last thing, and unfortunately, I don't want to take someone's money catering to their delusion. I'd rather cut them loose. and realize, this is a person that needs this, and hopefully they're not going to get taken by some charlatan. But I know I'm not going to be the one doing it. That's for damn sure. And so when I take on clients, they know who they are, but they're still kind of uncovering. They're still excavating. They're still in the midst of their excavation, right? And so that's a different journey. And that I can help with, and that I do help with through hypnotherapy, through tarot readings, through psychic readings, Akashic reading, all of that. But at the end of the day, everything that we are going through right now has been talked about, written about for thousands of years, and has been waited for. So it's like it's like you getting the job of your dream, right? And you get the call on a Friday that says, we hire you, you're making the money you asked for, here's the golden parachute, here's the contract, here's the sign-in bonus. It's your dream situation, right? And all you have to do is show up on Monday morning at 9 a.m. That's our situation. The new earth is coming. It's already there. It's been approved. Stamp of approval. Boom, there it is. Our own lack of self-worth is going to make us fuck it up. Our own doubt is going to make us fuck it up. So all we have to do is show up to the meeting. What's the meeting? Fucking take a shower, clean up, shave, look pretty, do your shit, meditate, manifest, sit in your oh my God, I'm so grateful. Gratitude. I love the new earth. Oh my God, it's incredible the way I live. And you start just rattling off how your life is as if it's happening now. Gratitude. And in gratitude, here comes Monday morning. Oh my God, new earth. Oh my God, we've bridged it. Oh my God, look. The bridge. We've bridged it. And there will be others who will unfortunately create the Mad Max. They've been so hell-bent. There are some people who are chomping at the bit for Mad Max to happen. Chomping at the bit. They can't fucking wait. Angry preppers. And not every prepper is angry. But I'm talking about those who are. Angry fucking preppers. Can't wait to, create mayhem. But that's not what we want as starseeds. It's the farthest thing from our minds. We want what you want. You want what I want. And so all we have to do, right, is show up. But part of the price to that is to get involved and to try to push the envelope and to start giving pink slips to these leaders. That means if you never voted before, or if you've been voting and gave up like 5, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, it's time for us to vote. If you've never donated, I've never donated at any time for any campaign ever, never, just so you know. But I'm going to this time. It'll be my first time and probably my last time. Because this will be the push we need. So if you've never donated your times for a campaign, please do it. And please, I don't care if it's a 4th party, a 5th party. I don't give a shit. Me, I'm going with Kennedy. That's who I'm going to donate my time to. But only because, like I said, I've been following him since 1998. I like what he's about. And he's even admitted, God, I wish my voice wasn't what it is. I feel sorry for people who have to hear my voice. I've tried all kinds of things, but I can't change the sound of my voice. Listen with your heart, not your ears. Listen, you get your ear ringing. You know how you get I love how they call it tinnitus. Do you have ear ringing? Here's some medicine for that. It's like, fuck, man, we're being fucking upgraded, you assholes. I don't need that. And I don't need any meds for that. Thank you. I'm getting upgraded. Did you realize that? So listen with your heart to this man. Do some research. Find out how you can donate, how you can donate your time. Your time's going to be worth more than any money you can put. Yes, sure. Write a check for $20, whatever the fuck. No problem. Your time, though. You getting on the phone, you talking to people and giving them sense. This is not the time to vote for the lesser of two evils. We're past that point. We've done it again and again and again for decades. This is why we're standing on the precipice of a new era. So the guy gets or chick gets the job. It's everything they've ever wanted. They got the golden parachute, the contract, the sign-up bonus. All they have to do is show up at 9 a.m. on Monday. Do you know what happens to the average human being who's self-sabotaged, who has self-loathing? The alarm doesn't wake them up. They show up at 11:30, 12 o'clock. My alarm, it wasn't, I'm so sorry. Sorry. Dude, that's what people do. In every situation where they're about to win, they lose because there's a subconscious aspect of them where they don't feel like they deserve to ascend, they deserve to be there, they deserve to grow. And so your job is to work on anything. Because I don't know about you, but if I had that opportunity, I'd be asking my girlfriend to call me. I'd have 3 alarm fucking clocks, okay? I'd be asking 3 friends to call me. Yeah, please wake me up at 7 a.m. I'll kick you some cash. I'll kick you $200. Wake me up make sure to call me. That's a winner. That nothing is going to go wrong. Nothing will make them blow that 9 a.m. call, right? And that's what we have to do ourselves. We have to make sure that we show up. Each and every one of us has to show up. Some of you won't show up because you'll say, well, somebody else is showing up. I don't have to show up. You guess what? I hope you've read the little book. It's an incredible book. I love children's books. It's called The Little Red Hen. If you've never read The Little Red Hen, go read that fucking book. The Little Red Hen. Because in that story lies a philosophy about apathy and laziness. It's a hell of a little story. Tiny little story. It's perfect for like 3, 4, 5-year-olds. It's stories like that teach kids honor, integrity, showing up for people, even when it's not convenient. Don't rely on anyone to show up. Show up. Every movement of change, people joined hands and showed up together. The civil rights movement could have never been successful if people from all walks of life, races, genders, cultures, religious beliefs had not shown up. Okay? That's why it was a success. And they were outraged at the injustice. And they all showed up. No one said, well, I'm sure some did, but they didn't matter. And like Budsy said, 1%. All we need is 1%. But we need that 1%. And all of you could say, well, 1%, if all of you do that, we're fucked. That means we didn't wake up at 9 a.m., at 7 a.m. to get to that, to collect our Ascension medal, if you will, or bridging the gap into the new earth in terms of, and letting these others who really are so excited about Mad Max, that whole reality of it, let them have it. God bless them. I hope they wake up. But your job is not to waste your time on that. Your job is to work on people who are almost there. And they want to believe, but they don't have enough self-sense of self-support of others around them. They need to know they don't need support. They need to believe in their heart. They need to feel it. And then many of us will cross that bridge. And we're going to make it. We're going to make it. And I'm hoping it's much more than 1%. I've heard some people who I really respect say, out of 8 billion people, half of us are definitely crossing over. Believe it or not, that's a hell of a big number in my opinion, to be honest. I think that's a massive number. But this person said, who I really love and respect, that it's going to be half of us. And I think that it could be the last hour, where people go, wait, hang on. You know what I'm saying? And they actually do just at the last hour wake up, like, boom. It's like lights on. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, I'm crossing that bridge. Yeah, fuck this. I'm out. Right? So there are a couple things we got to do that's very pedestrian, very, where's the word? Not so comfortable. You're being asked to vote. You're being asked to sway people. Yeah, time to have those conversations. Oh, well, we'll never talk about politics and religions at the dinner table. Really? Why not? Why not? If people are actually going to have fistfights over that, then you may want to rethink your friends and maybe try to see if you can help your family learn some manners at the dinner table. because it's a muscle that's not been practiced for over 100 years, and it's brought us to this edge. Remember our forefathers. They sat around with tankers of ale, and they got really they ruminated on the tea tax and lost their shit. Just one fucking item. We have a shitload of items on our list to basically say, yeah, we're out. You want this, BlackRock? Enjoy. Bye-bye. I'm crossing that bridge. Enjoy. You don't have to fight. Nothing. You don't have to fight for anything. In fact, don't fight. Manifest. Mobilize. Create community. Create dialogue. If people want to act like stupid, fools at a dinner table or a cocktail party, walk. Just walk. You're not here to go back and forth. This is not a tennis match. No one's here to volley concept. If they can understand that the sky is blue and the sun will rise in the east, I'm sorry. You can't talk to people. There's nothing to talk about. You're here to convince people who are 1 foot in and 1 foot out. They're almost edging in. Those are the people we want. As for the other ones that are rooted, entrenched in dogma, you're right. Enjoy. Bye-bye. Kissing at you on both cheeks. I'll see you on the flip side of the sun. Bye-bye. Good luck. Pack your shit and cross that bridge. That's it. All right? Any questions? I'm going to do an oracle reading real quick to see where we're at with energy. I think it'd be a good idea. Thank you, love. Thank you, Letty. Let me go ahead and do an oracle reading for the collective. Are you cool with that? It's the new, the CIA used remote viewing to view ancient history or faraway lands. They did a lot more than that, as well as the KGB. They did a lot more than that, believe me, my friend. There's a lot of information. That's really cool, actually. So if they believed in that, and they're certainly not stupid with their time, right? They're not stupid with their time. So if they did that, there's something to it, right? Anyway, all right. I'm going to do an oracle reading from the Earth Warriors. Earth Warriors, meaning Earth Shaman. Hi, how are you, Kim? It's good to see you. Let's see here. So the way it goes is I want you to focus on, giving your angels, guides, and allies permission to, get the message that you need. And when you're ready, pick from the top, bottom, or middle. Top, bottom, or middle. Okay? Don't think, just pick. And the majority wins. Top, bottom, or middle when you're ready. Thank you, Kim. It's good to see you, Polly. Middle. I'm going to stop. I need middle. Who else? Okay. Top, bottom, or middle? Top, okay. I still need I need the one that pushes it to the final decision. Top, bottom, or middle? Middle. Okay. Okay, I'm going middle. All right, cool. Aha, 16. This is interesting. 16. Okay, beautiful. 16 is Lolo, stand in the light. It's called Lolo, stand in the light. Hang on, okay, let me look it up. 16. Now, 16 has this picture of a butterfly that's rising from a mountain, moving from a setting sun into the moon. That's what and it looks like many moons. It's the artist, this is, by the way, just so you know, Earth Warriors by Alana Fairchild, artwork by Isabel Brina. All right, let's look at 16 and card messages for you. Bear with me while I look for the page. And I'll give you the page number because to me, everything matters. Page number 93, and 93 is 12, which again is the sacrifice and the victim. I see 216 all the time. Oh, wow, cool. 216 is excellent. That's 9. That's a powerful number. 9 is a master number. Okay, stand in the light. You are unique. You are divine and beautiful being. You stand apart from the crowd. Sometimes it evokes jealousy or desire in others who want to possess your light and beauty as their own. You need never fear another or believe that they can harm you. Allow yourself to be true to who you are. Did you hear this? I want, here, you know what? I'm going to read it to you again. I'll tell you why. Because many of you have actually downplayed your power to make many people comfortable. You've downplayed your beauty, you've downplayed your intelligence, you've downplayed your kindness, you've downplayed your magnetism, your power, your charisma, you've downplayed it. Some of you, not all of you, I hope not all of you, bloody hell. But let me repeat it. You need never fear another or believe that they can harm you. Allow yourself to be true to who you are. Do not try to hide your inner light and beauty. Fuck that. Some of you have hid your actual outer light and beauty. You are meant to be seen. Your soul is nurtured and protected by your love for the divine. And all of you have a massive love for the divine. You've been searching. You've been like nomads. We've all been nomads trying to be home. So let me continue reading. Okay, inner reading. Don't avoid the spotlight. Try to hide or dull your light to appease another or your fears. Your divine light and beauty are meant to help others, and the only way that can occur is if you allow yourself to be and express it fully. Do not shrink from your magnificence when you feel challenged. Instead, step it up to an entirely new level of boldness. Yeehaw! All right, you have a gentle nature, but you are strong. If you have become obsessed with the beauty or power of another, it's time to come back to your own divine beauty, to unearth it, explore it, express it, and let it shine. Trying to blend in will drain the energy from you. I'm going to repeat that. Trying to blend in will drain the energy from you. Let those who are attracted to your light adapt to your level of divine expression. You are the benchmark, and they will evolve to reach you. And I'm going to add, or not. They will either evolve to, you understand? They'll either get to your level of consciousness and beauty and power, or they won't. They'll slide off you. Good. Bye-bye. Enjoy the ride. I don't have time. I got shit to do. You see what I'm saying? And you always have to think about this. I can cater to low-level frequencies of bitterness, jealousy, and envy, right? Or, imagine the idea, or I can rise and shine and help hundreds of thousands of people by just being me, because I believe in the butterfly theory, which is, the theory is that a butterfly's wings can start a hurricane in the other side of the world, right? No one sees the butterfly doing it, but the energy, the frequency is magnified. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's just incredible. In Malagasy, the language of Madagascar, Lola means butterfly, moth, and soul. The sunset moth of Madagascar is big, beautiful, and bright. While most moths are active at night, the sunset moth of Madagascar is a creature of the day, with iridescent wings that create a kaleidoscope effects as they refract the light. They are considered by some to be the most beautiful insect on earth. My God, did you guys even know such a thing existed? Yet in subdued light, their wings can appear far less remarkable. Without light, their true beauty cannot be recognized. You, like this unique creature, are beings that need light. Light to nourish your life force, and light to reveal your true and remarkable divine beauty. You are meant to shine your divinity in the world in the daylight, not hidden under the cloak of night for fear of how others may react. The bright colors and shape of the sunset moths and their presence in the full light of day leads many to mistake these unique moths for butterflies. You too will find that people do not always realize who and what you are. They may mistakenly assume that your joy and beauty indicate that life has always been easy for you. They may fail to recognize the true depth of your soul and the experience of darkness and struggle that you have overcome to become the vibrant, beautiful being that you can now be seen to be. During the daylight hours, the sunset moth can be seen flitting from one flower to another, feeding on nectar. They discern light waves and indicate a strong preference for white flowers, although not for specific plants. You are one of the rare souls who can find the truth of light and love in any number of spiritual or religious paths. In any number of situations, you can recognize and be nourished by purity in many forms. Be it a random act of kindness from a stranger, the unconditional love of an animal, a genuine blessing from a spiritual master, or a moment of simple beauty in nature. You can sense the true presence of love through evolved spiritual discernment. The Madagascar sunset moth are very particular in their eating habits. They are attracted to the nectar of plants that other creatures tend to avoid because they cannot metabolize the toxins. Wow. It is, which is not harmful. Okay, so hang on. I'm sorry, I was blown away by that line. This is unbelievable. Do you see here? Do you understand what they're saying here? They are attracted to the nectar of plants that other creatures tend to avoid because they cannot metabolize them to toxins. Is not harmful to them. Opening the third eye, okay? If somebody opens the third eye using weird means like hallucinogenics, right? It can become a toxin to them. Many of you are opening your third eye in ways that are so soft and beautiful. You may have done ayahuasca. You may have done bufo. You may have done whatever. You may have done nothing. But some people will try to force that opening in the third eye, right? And it will be a toxin to them. They will lose their shit. They will be afraid. They will run. They will develop schizophrenia for that moment or for that week or whatever. Some people have lost their minds. I did a live earlier today about Kundalini awakening. Not everyone's ready for it. Some people, like if you and I saw a ship landing and we saw light beings coming out, we wouldn't be running, okay? We wouldn't be pulling out our guns. We'd be walking towards them. Or for a minute, we'd probably be like vibing out. Are these the right ones we should meet? Or are they the wrong ones we should meet, right? We'd vibe it out. But we would probably get an instant hit that this was a safe time. Where there's other people that would fucking panic. Orson Welles proved that in War of the Worlds. It was a radio show. If you've never heard that radio show, I highly suggest you watch it. Because you will see, you don't understand. There was a movie made on that. People actually thought that they were being invaded by Martians. My father lived in New Jersey. He literally was a little boy listening to it. People actually thought it was real. And they fucking were panicked. Many people have not changed. It may have been 100 years ago. Guess what? Literally 100 years ago, come to think of it. Thereabouts. No, like 90 years ago. Nothing's really changed. So this concept of this moth who can, metabolize the nectar from certain plants, right? Which is toxic to other people, to other, creatures, is you. Instead, these moths become poisonous to predators by following their instincts to nurture themselves according to what suits them, even though it would not necessarily be right for another creature. Whatever nurtures and nourishes you feels good for your heart, body, and soul is also what protects you. Did you hear that? I'm going to say it again. Even though it would not necessarily be right for another creature, whatever nurtures and nourishes you and feels good for your heart, body, and soul, it also is what protects you. That's right. When you commune with your angels, guides, and allies, you are protected. When you're talking to them as you're talking to me, right? Or to your child, or to yourself in the mirror. And you say, angels, guides, and allies, I give you permission to guide me in word and action. I call on you to protect me. I sit in meditation to listen. Tell me what you want me to hear. And you listen. You have the kinds of protections that the average human being will never understand until they get awakened and understand. It's that simple. You don't need to do anything for effective protection other than place yourself in the divine beauty of what you love absolutely and completely. This is amazing. I'm going to give you, I never usually do this, but I'm going to give it to you. It's the last part. I am cloaked in divine glory, light, grace, and beauty. I am a child of the divine. I am protected in the sanctuary of absolute divine love, now and always. So be it. Beautiful. So that was your reading. So whoever was here needed to hear it. They always protect you. Yes. Beautifully said, Tony. Thank you. I'm glad my throat is I got to catch up on some sleep, my folks. But I want to thank you here for being here. And yeah, I'm so glad you love this. Yes, this was good. So again, this was Earth Warriors Oracle by Alana Fairchild. You know, she's my girl. I love her. I wish I could give you another oracle, but I can't. But I will try to do it again tomorrow night. I will try to jump on a live. Again, join on my, if you can join, if you can do it, you know, go ahead and join my Patreon. I'm uploading some videos on some concepts that are really interesting, that are a little cutting edge, and it's going to get a little more intense as I progress with the Patreon. And again, Zoom calls, but these Zoom calls are going to be more like classes. Andromeda Flame and I are joining hands, and I'm so excited to work with her in offering classes. We're working on the curriculum. We're working on how to proceed with the content. We're excited. We can't wait, because honestly, we've been pushed. We are reluctant. I'm not being funny. I was very happy doing what I do, but then when I started seeing a lot of the content creators, or not, I should refrain that. Well, there's some content creators I'm not too jazzed on, but when I started seeing what was happening with Twin Flame Universe, escaping the Twin Flame, you know, all of that shit, I realized, we both realized, many of us realized that we better step up, or else they will railroad us, the Twin Flame journey, and bastardize us the same way they bastardized Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. The same way. It took us 2,000 years to come into these bodies to realize what had been done to their divine union. Okay? And they're trying to pull that shit again. They can't use religion anymore. They're using other forms. They're using media. They're using TV shows. They're using their power to influence those who are asleep to believe that we don't exist, and it's a brand new concept. I brought up the Love couple, a biracial couple. I think they came out of North Carolina, Virginia. I don't remember, honestly, but check out the movie Love. The Love couple, biracial. They loved each other. No issues. It didn't look like it to me. The way the pictures were taken of them when they were very young, they were like, I think they were like in their mid-20s, late 20s. And they had to go to court for the marriage to be legal. You know, it was illegal for them to marry in the 60s. So that's a twin flame story. There are tons of twin flame stories that go all the way back. They go back thousands of years. Helen of Troy. Stories that when you look at, I'm trying to think of some ancient stories that replicate some Greek stories, some mythologies. I'm trying to remember the name of this particular, but I'll tell you the story. It's a Greek story. So this young man is in love with this young nymph, and somehow it's not Persephone. Just on the side note, just in case you're gonna jump ahead. And this young, beautiful maiden nymph is grabbed and taken into the bowels of hell, and he's bereft. He's absolutely doesn't know what to do. And so he's given an enchantment, and he's told, look, go down, go see her. And but here's the deal. Lead her out of the caves. It's a catacomb, right? Lead her out of the cave, but no matter what you do, no matter what she says, no matter how she begs, do not turn around to look at her until you are at the mouth of the cave and you're out. When you're out, then you can tell her, you can hug her, you can love her, you can do whatever you want. And so he goes into the bowels of hell, locates her very easily. He's enchanted. He's been given an enchantment, so he can. Not to mention their souls are like magnets, you know. So he finds her, and he can't look at her. And she says, why won't you look at me? Do you find me to be ugly? And he's like, no, I can't look at you. I love you. We're gonna, don't worry. I'll hug you. I'll love you. I'll whatever. And she keeps crying and crying and crying and crying, and she won't stop. And finally, he turns around. He's about to step out of the opening of the cave, and he turns around, and she's blasted back into hell. She's ripped out of his hands, basically. So these stories are like, almost like, what are they? Warnings. They're warnings. Don't let the ego tell you what to do. His ego did that. His ego turned around because he couldn't stand hearing her cry. It was his ego. It was her ego that was crying, begging, right? Like a little child, begging, weeping. And is his ego that responded. And that is something that we can't allow in this particular time in our twin flame journeys. We cannot allow anyone to tell us that what we're experiencing is not real. We cannot allow anyone to actually only give one side of the story. Are those two shows about cults that are using? Yes, they are. And me and Andromeda Flame did I interviewed her. Check it out on YouTube. Okay, it's on YouTube. Check it out. It's a fantastic talk with her. And we talk about the fuckery of cults in general, by the way. But it should help you. Okay? But we need to really protect each other, band together, and grow in power. Because the desire to separate, to divide and conquer us, to doubt the love that we have for our twin, to doubt that we'll ever be in union, is there to give us such a level of despair that we stop trying to continue on without them. And that is exactly what they want us to do. Who are they? The 1%. Who are they? The same ones that Rhonda Burns in the opening scene of The Secret talked about. Same ones who knew about The Secret, who knew about these alchemical ways of manifesting and working with the universe to create the impossible. Same ones, same types. And when a person loses their beloved, right? It can be to such a level that it's destroyed people. A great story that Shakespeare wrote, which is still one of the best stories ever written on the fuckery of love, when people involve too many people, there's too many people in the kitchen of this love story, is Othello, one of the greatest stories ever told. Because it's a massive manipulation by a very pedestrian level, low level, envious little creature who poses as Othello's very, very dear friend, Iago. Watch that. He must have been fascinated with the betrayal of lovers, because as he wrote Othello, then you have Romeo and Juliet. And yeah, there's some fuckery here or there, but for the most part, there are people trying to help them. And in helping them, it leads them to their own destruction, right? Lack of communication, lack of clarity, lack of urgency, right? So these are twin flame stories. I don't know what people are thinking, right? And there are beautiful also stories of high-level soulmates where everything's going well. There's no problem. It's like the farmer and his wife. No issues. It's all good. I love her. You want to know? I'm good. I don't want anyone else. She raised my kids. Makes the best butter I've ever had. She's good with the bread making. She's good in bed. I love her. Why would I want any? There are stories like that of people who are simply having a simple life with peace and contentment and gratitude. And so gratitude is the tool to our success. And so be grateful that you volunteered now. Don't say, I'm never fucking coming back here. That's not gratitude, is it? Be grateful you volunteered to come here to be at this very, very intense period in human history, for real. And that you're here being great. I'm so grateful I'm in this life. I'm so grateful I'm part of the Ascension. I'm so grateful I'm crossing the bridges of my Ascension. Be grateful and see it, smell it, taste it as if it's happening now. Every step of the way. And don't look back. All right, my loves. Sending you much love on your journey. Namaste. Be well.